Hey guys, hey guys, Red Marvel here, back again with another video for, Red Marvel. And today we're going to be reviewing the last in the trilogy, Transformers War for Cybertron. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe, smash the notification button, and follow me on Twitch and Twitter, links on the description, and get involved in the comments below, see what kind of content you guys want to see. So, yeah, by the way, spoilers, massive spoilers for this. Is going to be a spoiler-filled review because I really want to get a few things off my chest. So this is going to be spoiler-driven. So bear that in mind. You have been warned. Spoilers. Anyway, let's get into it. So essentially, this is the last, obviously, in the trilogy of Transformers movies, The War for Cybertron. And this is Kingdom. And effectively, this carries on from Earthrise, from the previous season, where the Transformers, the Decepticons, and Autobots basically crash land on Earth. And what essentially happens, they come into contact with the Maximals and Predacons, the Beasts. And this is great because I didn't actually watch Beast Wars, so it was great to see the Maximals and Predacons in Beast Wars form actually interact with the Autobots and Decepticons. Really looking forward to it, and it did well. And for me, I know a lot of people are going to criticize the voice acting. For me, I have no issue with the voice acting. I think the voices were fine, and I enjoyed this. But essentially, the story is the again, it continues the idea of finding the Allspark. Optimus Prime obviously wants to get to keep in the hands of Megatron. Megatron obviously wanting to recreate Cybertron in his own image. And what it seems to be is that the Maximals and the Predacons seem to have come from the future, okay? Because the Beast Wars Megatron gives him the golden disc that Galvatron failed to give him, and he gives him that, so that Megatron can basically be successful this time around and can prevent this dark future from happening. Because effectively, you find out later that the Maximals and Predacons come from a timeline whereby the Allspark was never returned to Cybertron, and Cybertron basically died in destruction, and they came back to fix things. So that's kind of the basic sort of the premise, at least initially, up until the first 4 or 5 episodes. You find actually out that the Allspark seems to have a symbiotic relationship with Cybertron, and so Optimus Prime, and this one maybe it's more criticism, I guess, so is that there's so much Transformers lore has occurred within these 3 seasons, and Optimus Prime doesn't give you that. He whines a lot. He really, it's not bad, but it's noticeable to the point that you're kind of like, Optimus, you're kind of supposed to be, the Optimus of the movies, like, okay, I'm going to war for this guy. This Optimus is very unsure of himself as a leader. And I think in the first season, you're like, okay, I kind of get it because he's just starting out. It's just the early phase of the war. But now, because it seems that so much has transpired, you're like, you need to be a bit more battle hardened here, Optimus. Inspiring, so like, it's clear even sometimes that his even troops and leaders don't seem to believe in him. So that's something that really irked me throughout this entire trilogy, but certainly here, where he's constantly blaming himself, down himself, etc. And yes, to a certain extent, he's right, because he was ignorant of the fact that the Allspark had a symbiosis with Cybertron, and so the Allspark was dying, had to prove himself, etc. But it is what it is. Shout out to Dinobot. I thought Dinobot for me was one of the bots that I loved the most in this, just with his kind of trying to explore the ambiguity between him defecting to the Maximals, Predacons, not necessarily believing in this whole dichotomy of Autobot and Decepticon that just shouldn't be something different. And I think that was a really good put from Dinobot. Loved the actor as well. And I think he was handled very well as well. You didn't see a lot of, I don't think many Autobots really. I think that's another criticism, I guess you could say, is that this was pretty much the Predacon show with Optimus and Megatron. There wasn't really a lot of character development for most of the other Autobots or Decepticons. They're pretty well, aside from Starscream. Shout out to Starscream, by the way. Shout out to Starscream. You know, the guy was a loser. Okay, tried to betray Megatron yet again and sided with Black Arachnia in their own separate scheme. And then this guy basically gets a vision from Unicron, and no one believes him. No one believes this guy at all. No one believes him at all. And he's like, "Don't go back to Cybertron. He wants that. Like, listen to me." And I'm feeling for him because I'm like, guys, why don't you? When even Bumblebee smashed the golden disc, you're like, oh my goodness, like all the knowledge and information of just like, oh man. And you're just thinking like, I actually felt for Starscream because like literally legit, I know who this Unicron is, and he is Mr. And that I think ties into the sort of last two episodes of the overarching thing here, where throughout the season, there's this kind of build up, Nemesis, they build up Nemesis, and then you find out in the end, going back to the vision, Optimus had last season, that you get the final reveal of Nemesis Prime, which to be honest was quite lackluster because they fought a bit. He fought Optimus a bit, and then he didn't really do much after that because he was just kind of vanished by the spirits of people that joined the Allspark. That was it. So that was quite disappointing. But you find out that Nemesis and Galvatron are from the same timeline as the Maximals and Predacons, and they basically are servants, enslaved to this beast called Unicron, and they wanted obviously to change. And it seemed, I think they're going a branch time theory where this Unicron is in another timeline to this current timeline. So in this timeline, they go back to Cybertron, they implant the Allspark, and things go back to normal. But that won't affect the current timeline that Galvatron and Nemesis Prime are from. So that's why they were kind of really adamant they wanted to get things resolved. At the end of the day, they complete the Decepticons and Autobots complete the mission. They come together and they restore Cybertron. But obviously, towards the end, you've got this menacing Unicron thing where you travel through the dead universe to go through time and space, which is basically how they traveled to different parts from the past to the future. They travel through the dead universe to basically travel through time. And Unicron's like, bro, that was the risk to go through there, but actually, you've not given me you give me a pretty good idea. You give me a very, very good idea why he appears to be torturing Nemesis and Thingy. I mean, Unicron was menacing. Unicron's the main villain. Unicron was absolutely, totally menacing in this, and goodness knows what's going to happen in the next season. I suspect he's going to use the Dead Wounds to travel through different timelines and just dominate things. So they know it's coming. They should be prepared, and we'll see what happens. But I think overall, I mean, that's a general summary of the thing. Overall, final thoughts on this. I mean, for me, again, it was a solid last entry. I still don't think it was as good as the first one, but definitely better than the second because it just obviously rounds things up. Really great positives to see the Maximals and the Predacons. The Starscream, to be honest, I actually think was pretty good. And obviously just the use of Unicron and the plot lines and where they're going through, I think that was fine. The issues though with this are, again, much like the second season, trying to do too much in one. It almost felt like with this trilogy, and I might do a trilogy review separately, that there were 6 episodes each, so 18. All of this could have just been one season done all together, and then you had a following season following these things up. I don't think they need to be broken down in this way, and they're almost trying to pack too much into. You can't pack this amount into an hour episode, possibly, but 20-minute episodes is just not enough. 6 was just not enough. So a lot of characters suffered character development wise as a result of it. The characters that were the forefront, Bumblebee, for example, for me, takes a back seat in this one completely. The Autobots that are left on Cybertron are non-existent. Alita 1 thingy, they're just gone, disappeared, dead, whatever. They're just not there anymore. So Shockwave, Shockwave backseat, Shockwave exists, non-existent, and so on. So that for me was, I think, a problem. And like I said, Optimus was just very just whiny, and I get he struggled, but it was just off-putting, if I'm perfectly honest. Those I think were the main vibes, but overall, to be honest, it's still a good watch. I still recommend people to watch this finally, and I am looking forward to season 2. It's certainly a lot better than certain other animes that were released recently. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment below, share, subscribe. Beast. Take care, everyone, and cheers.